Hello there YouTube, my name is Trogi, and today I'm playing some Battlefield 3, playing some Conquest on Damavan Peak, and today it's question time part 4. Yet again, you guys have sent in some literally amazing questions, and today hopefully I'll be able to get through as many of them as possible. If you have any burning questions you would like me to answer for question time part 5, please do feel free to leave a comment down in the description. What am I on about? Down in the comments, that's more like it. Down in the comments, and well, in question time part 5 in a couple of weeks time I'll hopefully be able to get through as many of those as possible, be it games or real life, whatever you want. You know, I have an opinion on pretty much everything. My parents always used to say I was an opinionated bugger, but anyway. That aside, before I get to your great questions, I have a few announcements to announce first. So firstly, something pretty cool happened to me over the weekend, which I wanted to share with you. Essentially, my channel was featured on a, relatively large YouTube channel, not gonna lie. So like many other YouTubers, I watch, some of the bigger YouTubers, some of the bigger video game commentary, etc. uploaders out there as well. And one guy I watch a lot of videos from is a guy called Ken Burton. Now Ken is a 40-something odd gamer, and he makes just classically entertaining videos, and he also holds the position of the community manager for Machinima Respawn in Europe and the United Kingdom. And he's been running a little series as of late called Channel Check Live, where he and a little panel which he assembles goes out to submitted channels, have a look at the channels and what they're producing, and gives some feedback. I submitted my channel just for the heck of it. The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't get looked at. And what would you know? First video on the or first channel on the video, Muggins here. So cue my actual pretty much reaction to me seeing that. I was actually eating a bowl of cereal at the time, so that's pretty much what happened. And well, I had a load of fantastic feedback from them. So I wanted to say, first of all, thank you, Ken and chaps, for your feedback. I know you're probably not watching, but still I want to say thank you. A lot of food for thought, and basically I've tried to act on as much of the stuff or as much of the feedback that they gave as possible with as much time as I had now. So primarily I've been fiddling around with render settings and such. So what I'd like to know from you guys basically now is, how does this video look? I've tweaked what was my previous settings to this. Ken called out a slight issue with some of the text not being clear at 360p, which is completely valid. So I've had a little bit of a fiddle, a little bit of an optimization, a little bit of research, and hopefully it looks a bit sweeter now. So any feedback you've got there would be fantastic. Again, just leave it down in the comments. So yeah, that's piece of news number 1. Pretty damn exciting. And well, if you've subscribed, thanks to Channel Check Live, welcome. Hopefully I'll be able to produce or show you off some pretty neat stuff from Battlefield, and actually brings me on quite nicely to part 2. Anything else in the near future. So obviously, I'm playing Battlefield at the minute. That's because, well, I'm playing it predominantly, but you guys are enjoying what I'm producing. Obviously, I'm going to be starting to play other games as, other games come out. So what I'd like to kind of get a, gist of now, I guess, is what you'd like to see from me in the future, be it shooting, racing, puzzle, I don't know. Just stick it down, again, down in the comments. Anything and everything will be considered. I predominantly play shooters. I also love, a good racing game. So, anything in particular you want to see from me, more than happy to look at producing. You've got some big games, your Mass Effects, Bioshocks, even there was I think in some point in March, the next Medal of Honor is going to be announced, which will probably be a release this year. Again, they're all relatively shooters, RPGs, but anything in particular you'd like to see, give it a shout out. More than happy to look at it. Just gives me a little bit of a heads up time to have a little bit of a think to see what would fit in nicely. So that's part 3, rolls on quite nicely. And actually, one thing I do need to say as well is an apology. Now, in my last video, I talked about updates and possibility of DLC and whatnot for Battlefield 3, and essentially on the 3rd of February, when I recorded and uploaded the video, a load of news appeared on the community fan sites about EA having a conference where they'll be talking about DLC and such for their franchises, and updates are being released and whatnot. And essentially, I think, Chinese whispers, whatnot, it got us all. So essentially, what I reported wasn't necessarily true, and I'm basically apologising for that. Obviously, or at least not so far, this is Tuesday, I'm recording this on, nothing has been announced DLC-wise, which is a great pity. I was hoping for something on Monday. That's the way it goes. So my apologies there, and obviously the update, it did happen on the PS3, the VoIP was fixed, which is great, but obviously, we haven't heard anything else yet. However, it's, I guess, just one of these waiting games. Everyone, I think, got on the hype train a bit, so basically, my apologies, guys. Didn't mean to mislead anyone or anything like that. So again, my apologies. So that wraps up the announcement kind of thing. One piece of advice, very quickly, before I get on to the questions. when you group up as recons on a an observation point like this, you tend to not last too long, just as this situation has occurred. Now, I shot this chap previously, he came up and got me, and because I had a teammate spawn on him, he's now going to be watching that area a lot. So basically, when you're playing recon and you want to do the long distance game, don't bunch up in the same spot. You're just going to cause lots of attention being drawn to you. Your life expectancy as a result will go way down, and pretty much the rest of my time up here is me pretty much trying to watch mine and my teammates back where possible. So a little bit of advice there for all you recon players out there, and I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to mention briefly. I hope you enjoy the gameplay. It's a pretty sweet game, as you've seen so far. It only gets better. Anyway, time for some of your great questions, and if you have anything at all you want me to answer, leave it down in the comments below. So question 1 this week comes from Two-Way Y. I hope I've said that right anyway. And their question is, what tactic or strategy or tip do you think most average players don't know, but what good players do know, and in terms of, for example, increasing score per minute and whatnot? For example, Two-Way Y mentions, the average score per minute he's been getting is 356, and he's finishing in the top 3, excellent stuff. But how do you get, the 400s, the 500s, the 600s? Well, I'm pleased to say that currently I'm averaging about the 600 score per minute mark, and that's a fairly, serious number of points per hour, is it per hour or minute? I forget. Anyway, it used to be per hour. That's the system that Modern Combat had, anyway, I know that much. Anyway, essentially, the key tip on how to boost your score per minute for me, is flexibility and adaptability. And what I'm going to do is overlay somewhere sensible a chart of my score per minute, and you can find your stats just like this, as I get annoyed at this recon still, just like this on a website called BF3stats.com. Pulling the data in from Battlelog, they just do a little bit more with it. And you'll notice that around sort of the late December region, my win-loss starts to go down, but my score per minute starts to go up. And then eventually my win-loss starts to climb again. Now, you want to know what happened there? Star Wars, The Old Republic, I think it was, came out, and my 2 squad mates who normally play Battlefield with me, Matt and Tom, they picked the game up and they started playing it. So it left me on my own a little bit. What did that cause? Well, primarily losses. However, once I got into the mindset of playing alone, if you will, going, okay, I need to switch it up, be a bit more, aware of the situation going on around me, I started to, the score per minute started to go up, and the wins eventually came back as well. Basically, if you see a situation where, your team's being beaten, say for example, a load of tanks are just rolling in, you're playing assault, you're not doing particularly much, have a bash, try and, cause them a bit of damage, but, respawn as an engineer. Blow those tanks up and say, okay, now you get a load of recon starting to run amok, respec, so perhaps, you have an SMG or a silencer so you can sneak up on them, something like that. Essentially, get adaptable. Don't just play the same kit all the time, because that will, although it will help you improve your skills with that kit, will limit you in terms of what you can do on the battlefield. If you can do everything, or a little bit of everything, you'll find that just in the nature of the way the game plays, more points will become available to you. That will boost your score per minute. There we go. That'll boost your score per minute, and as a result, you'll start to see wins and better returns, etc. Really, that's the way to do it. So just be adaptable, be aware of what's going on around you, and swap out to the engineer, the support, the recon, as and when it's needed. A winning team, a consistently winning team, is a team which basically, it realises its weaknesses and tries to address them best possible. If you're being destroyed by vehicles, become an engineer or, a suicide support like me. If you're getting beaten by infantry, whip out the assault guy, he can take down infantry pretty much better than anyone else. Vary it up. That will get your score per minute up, and that will also net you more wins and such as well, and a better experience, I'd say, overall. So thank you for the question, Two-Way Y. I hope that answered it for you. Now, next question, well actually series of questions, come from Moldola07. Great set of questions, thank you so much. So I'm going to try and rattle these off as quick as possible because there's quite a few. So, first question is, what camouflage am I using? Primarily it's Spec Ops Black. The main reason for that is when the infrared sight was unpatched, let's say, it used to hide the the glow, if you will, of your heat signature. So that was quite advantageous, and also it allows you to hide in shadows, that kind of thing. Quite beneficial. One thing to bear in mind with it though, and I think this really actually goes for most of the camos, is sometimes the webbing, the piece of equipment your troop wears to hold ammunition and such, sometimes glitches and either becomes bright white or just becomes sort of bright the colour of the texture. So for example, black, green, whatever. That can give you away, obviously, if you're in a shadowy place, all black, black, with your camouflage and you've got a piece of white, it gives you away. So bear that in mind, and certainly Spec Ops Black, especially on the Assault, seems to have done that quite a few times, so bear that in mind. What's my favourite gun and attachments for each kit? Well, again, I have to rattle these off quick. Currently, Assault is the farmhouse with the silencer, holographic, and foregrip, with the medic pack just for convenience, because obviously running around with farmhouse close range, you get hurt. Engineer is the 552. I think it's the SG 552. It's the co-op carbine that you unlock. Amazing weapon. Silencer, foregrip, and holographic as well, with a small mine, just whatever happens. Support is the M249. I've kind of varied it up, played a little bit of all the assault rifles, light machine guns, and I found that the M249 just seems to suit me all in all, so I've picked that up. Extended mag, foregrip, and actually at the minute I was running with the 4x, the Russian 4x. That worked quite nicely, but mainly I'm going back towards the holographic. And, well, the recon you can guess. L96, straight pull bolt, laser, and, well, the sight depends on, what I'm doing exactly. Great setups. All round, I recommend you try them once you unlock them, that kind of thing. My gaming setup, that I think I'd have to show you in a video. My gaming setup at the minute is a bit ragtag. It's a 27-inch iMac. I actually play the PlayStation on the iMac. I'll have to do a video on how I get this to work. But I play it through the iMac's 27-inch screen. Looks gorgeous. Record through it as well. It's quite complicated. It would need a video. And as for the possibility of actually seeing me in person, I expect you'll probably see me in person at some point. I guess I just got to decide when would be appropriate. Maybe soon, who knows, we'll see. So, Meldoa, thank you for the great questions. I hope those are sort of answered. Chiculator asks, what platforms do I play on PS3, Xbox? Predominantly PS3. I do dabble on PC from time to time, but not that much, to be honest. I'm a console guy, always have been, always will be. Now here is a great question. Dr. BC DSPS3. Do you think that consoles should have 64 players in Battlefield, Conquest, Large, etc., at the sacrifice of graphics and whatnot? Now, great question, and at the bottom of my heart I want to say yes, but logically it has to be no. Unfortunately, the consoles, this isn't just a PS3 thing or a 360 thing. The hardware inside them is 5 or 6 years old. It's a miracle that Battlefield 3 is running on them in the first place. The software developers and such at DICE have worked very hard to get these things to run in the first place. And eking out 64 players, even with reduced graphics and such, might be a push. So I think in practice it wouldn't work. And it's unfortunate. I'd love to see it, but the next gen of consoles is not so far away. Let's just hope that in Bad Company 3 or Battlefield 4, whatever it may be, we see it in the near future. Certainly I hope so, but Battlefield 3, I don't think so, unfortunately. I'd like to see it, but no. Let's see what we've got here. Now Super 13, then 13 in Rebel numerals asks, what's more valuable to a team, someone who can rack up the kills or a team player? Now, it's funny, I actually asked my squad this exact question and we came to different conclusions. Now, personally, I think that you need a bit of a balance. If you're good with a weapon, you can deny infantry. I think that's just as valuable as being a team player. If you can suppress, slow people down by, distracting them, eliminating them, that's very valuable. That's basically what happened at the start of this gameplay. I went for C, slowed them down, distracted them, and we took the bases and moved up to C. However, as the game's progressed, things are starting to, become a little more difficult. So you're starting to see me play objectives get a bit more forward recon-y in my sort of playbook. So personally, I think a little bit of both, and you just need to know when to switch it up. My teammates, my squad mates were quite adamant. You have to be a team player. Completely understand that position. Certainly any new player to Battlefield, I think you should always go for the objectives. Learn how the game plays itself out, then you can start to learn the rules of the game, then become the killing machine, then you can start to vary it up. That's my advice. Thank you for the question, Super1313. Great question. Now, Higher Tier Gaming asks about the new map packs and such. Hopefully I've kind of answered that in my updates video. Again, guys, my apologies. Cursed hype train, woo woo boo. Oh dear, I think I got a bit brought up by all that, wasn't I? Yeah. Anyway, Gabriel Hunasato, I hope I've said that right. I'm really bad with names, pronouncing names, oh dear. Asks, oh actually no, this is a comeback to the previous question about 64 players on console. And actually he raises the very good point about, actually, you know, with 64 players, surely lag and whatnot would become involved. Absolutely, probably. You know, the network interface cards on the consoles are the same basically as a PC, so in theory not. But obviously, you know, consoles, it's a little bit, you know, the rationale of the players and how they're connected to the you know, internet normally is hardwired, say. Or certainly most of my PC friends have got, you know, direct connection to router, whatnot. You know, it could possibly be an issue, but I think technically, you know, in terms of processor, memory available, all that kind of thing, I don't think it will happen, unfortunately. That's the way it goes. Anyway, thank you for the comment. You know, it's great to see a little bit of discussion. By all means, guys, have a nice little discussion, I'll chip in and whatnot. It's good to see anyway. And Malox asks, for beginners, which are the guns which you start with on online mode? Just head into My Soldier and the customization screen, that will tell you there. And the L85A2, what do you need to do it to unlock it? It's the Professional Russian assignment, which is unlocked after you get the is it Best Friends Forever, which unlocks the farmhouse. So 10 heals, 10 revives, and then it's 20 kills with the pro pipe, 5 squad deathmatch wins, and I think 100 kills with the assault rifle. It's been a while since I did it. I hope that's right. So I hope that answers those questions there. Anyway, perfect timing, magical. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you as always for watching, and thank you for your questions. By all means, anything you want answered for question time part 5, please do send it in. I'll get those answered in a couple of weeks time. And you know, as always, you know, if you could leave a like, dislike, whatever you believe the video deserves, especially with this little tweak I've done to my render settings, that would be much appreciated. So yes, if you're new to my videos, you can always subscribe. And guys, in general, thank you so very much for watching. I've been the Truggy, and I'll see you out on the battlefield.